Joined by the driver of the number 43 Super 8 Ford this week at Dover for Richard Petty Motorsports. Aric Almirola joins us. Hey, Aric, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you guys?
Hey, we're doing terrific, absolutely terrific. You got to be happy to go back to Dover. You had a good run there earlier in the year, and you got to believe that you're going to be able to expand on that.
Yeah, we're excited about going back to Dover. You know, we've had a really good run there earlier this year. Just come up one spot shy of having a top 5 run, finished 6th. So really looking forward to going back there this weekend with the Super 8 Ford Fusion. Car looks good, and we're excited about it.
I got to believe you got Super 8 on that race car there. Play the Road Trip Challenge. That's a pretty cool thing. As I sit here and look at it, could win over $1,000 in prizes. It's always neat to have a special program from a sponsor. That, what'd I say, $1,000?
Yeah.
Well, 1,000 prizes, $1,000. Hey, if it's not $1,000, Aric will throw in the $1,000. Sound like a deal?
I think Aric just hung up on you.
No, I'm good. I didn't hang up on you. That sounds like a deal. I hope I get to keep $1,000 in my pocket and somebody wins the prizes. Super.
Well, one of the things that talking about that deal, as I was saying, is that when you get a sponsor that comes on for a limited number of races like this, and they have a special program that goes along with it, it's kind of fun to have. You know, the amount of people there that, you know, are from Super 8, from the sponsor that's putting it together, and it's a huge deal for them as a sponsor as well as for you to have somebody like that on the race car for a limited sponsorship.
Yeah, it really is. You know, it's, you know, the Pettys have had a long-standing relationship with Wyndham Super hotels, and it's great to have them on the race car as well. So, you know, they got a big thing that they're trying to push and promote, and this weekend at Dover is a great way to do that. So you can go to pettysgarage.com to learn a whole lot more about it and how you can win the prizes. They're giving away a lot of cool stuff and you know, some pretty neat things. So pettysgarage.com, and they'll hook you up with everything you need to know about that. But I just drive the race car and get to stay in a comfy hotel room at a Super 8.
Hey, that's a pretty good deal. You're sitting 22nd in points currently. How do you give yourself your grade for 2012?
I'd say we're a C plus. You know, when I was growing up, Mom was good with a C. I wasn't allowed to have anything less than a D. So I'd give myself a C plus. You know, you always want to do better. I mean, unless you're Jimmy Johnson and you win 5 championships in a row and win 8 races a year or whatever, you know, you always expect more out of yourself and out of your race team and everything else, and so you always want to do better. But you know, the reality of it is that it was my first full-time year in Cup this year, and you know, I had a big learning curve ahead of me, and I knew that coming into this year, and you know, I feel like I've done a good job. I'm right there in points with people like Jamie McMurray and Juan Pablo Montoya and Jeff Burton and stuff. Those guys like that have been in our series for a long time, that have had a lot of success in our series. So, you know, I didn't expect to come in my first year and beat Jimmy Johnson and Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards and those kind of guys on a weekly basis. I expected to learn a lot, and I expected to be on a learning curve, and I feel like I'm on that learning curve, and I feel like I've learned a lot, and I feel like I can see light at the end of the tunnel as far as getting to come back to racetracks for a second time and getting to take all the experience that I've gained throughout the year and put it into play.
We're talking to Aric Almirola, who's driver of the number 43 Ford Fusion for Richard Petty Motorsports. Aric, when you sat down before the season started with Richard and the people that are, you know, in charge of your program, did they give you specific expectations? Was there anything we looked at like we're looking for, you know, we're hoping to get or we expect to get some top 10 finishes, or we expect you to do well at this type of racetrack, or anything like that, or has it been a constantly evolving thing throughout the season?
Yeah, it really has just been an evolving thing. You know, I think for us, going into it, Richard's told me right from day one that he's believed in me and had a lot of faith in me, and that he wanted to help me grow my career and wanted to help me be one of the next bright stars of the sport, and that he knew it wasn't going to happen overnight, and he knew that it was going to be a learning curve, and they've been really supportive through the whole process, and I've been really happy with how things have gone as far as being at Petty Motorsports and stuff like that. I couldn't have asked for a better race team to get my first full-time year in Cup in. So that's been great, and I've really enjoyed driving that 43 car. It means a lot to me to be able to represent all the history that goes behind that 43, and it's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot. Just want to keep getting better and better each and every week, and hopefully build and carry on that momentum, and hopefully be able to continue that to 2013.
Aric, when you talk to Richard, nobody's done more in a stock car than Richard Petty, obviously. I mean, can he? But he's never driven the current car, the car of tomorrow, whatever we're calling it this year. Can his advice? Can he give you advice on racetracks that relate to the cars today that you can use? I mean, does he not even try? What are those conversations like?
He can. Yeah, no, he for sure can. That's the thing about Richard that I think a lot of people sometimes overlook is that, I mean, we're talking about a car that he hasn't drove with the COT car, but I mean, think about over the years of all the racing that he's done. Think about all the different cars that he's drove, from convertibles all the way to four-door sedans, two-door sedans, to Fords, Dodges, Plymouth, Pontiacs, you name it. So he's been through all the changes himself as well, and he's always figured out how to adapt and be successful in whatever he's been in and win a lot of races. So his advice is always helpful, and at the end of the day, obviously the race cars are different than what he drove, but they're still a race car. They still got a gas pedal and a brake pedal and a steering wheel and four tires on it, and so he can offer a lot of advice, and usually when he talks, everybody in the room listens.
Yeah, that's probably your best bet when Richard opens his mouth for you to be all ears. I wanted to ask you about your teammate as well. A lot of times, you talk about guys who have teammates, and sometimes their driving style doesn't mesh with the driving style of your teammate. Are you and Marcos able to compare notes and to figure out, for him to help you help him on certain ways?
I mean, I think so. I think, especially in these last 2 weeks, we switched crew chiefs and crews, and a lot of the things that I was saying about the cars that I was driving, Marcos has very similar comments about the handling and stuff of the cars with similar setups to what I was running. And me driving his cars, with his crew chief Todd Parrott and stuff, I have similar comments as well. So I feel like our driving styles are similar, and I feel like we can lean on each other quite a bit as far as our driving styles. Obviously, at the road course and I mean, and some other racetracks, our style is a little bit different, but ultimately our feel for the race car is really similar.
The rumor mill out there about 2013. What's going on? Have you had talks with Richard about next year and about things that are going? I know, at least from what we were hearing, they were kind of planning maybe on this Dodge thing happening, and then it didn't happen, and now renegotiating with Ford. Where do you sit in that whole deal for next year?
Well, I feel like I'm a piece of the puzzle from everything that I've heard from talking to them and stuff. We all always want to do better. I mean, that's our sport is a driven sport for results, and we always want to perform at a higher level than what you're performing at. But I think from all the talks that I've had with them, everything's been on course, and I want to be there in 2013. There's nowhere else I'd rather be than driving that 43 car again. Whatever manufacturer we end up with, I know that they're in negotiations and talks about that, and should have an announcement coming up soon. So I'm not going to spoil the news on that. But as far as me driving, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I love the sponsors that we have with Smithfield Foods and Farmland and U.S. Air Force and all the sponsors that we've had this year. So with Super 8 this weekend, and we've had a lot of sponsors, and it's been a lot of fun to be a part of that. So I hope I would love nothing more than to stay there in 2013, and we're working really hard on trying to get that done here in the next few weeks.
All right, well, let's hope it does happen for your sake and for all the fans' sake, because they like seeing you in that car as well. Thanks so much, Aric. We appreciate you spending time with us. We'll talk to you again in the future.
Yeah, good luck this weekend. Get that top 5.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, Aric Almirola. Good deal. So